I never thought a Thursday morning at the barbershop could shatter the foundation of my life. The moment I sat in the worn leather chair, I was still trying to shake off the words my wife had thrown at me the night before. "You're just not attractive anymore," she had said, her voice dripping with something I couldn't name. Contempt, boredom, or maybe both. I laughed it off in the moment, because what else could I do? But now, in the buzzing fluorescent light of the barbershop, with the scent of aftershave and hair clippings in the air, the sting of her words returned, sharper than a razor. The barber, a chatty man named Tony, draped the cape around me with practiced hand. "Rough morning?" he asked, catching the tension in my shoulders. I nodded, forcing a smile. Something like that. As Tony trimmed the sides of my hair, I tried to distract myself by scanning the other patrons, the mirrors reflecting a dozen tiny dramas at once. And then I noticed her, a woman sitting across the room, idly scrolling through her phone. She had sharp green eyes and a mischievous smile that seemed to notice me even before I noticed her. Without thinking, I glanced at her again, and this time she winked. Just a quick, knowing wink that made the hairs on the back of my neck stand on end. I blinked. Did she really just wink at me? My chest tightened, not with excitement, exactly, but with a sudden rush of possibility. For a fleeting moment, I forgot about my wife, about the hurt, about the crushing weight of those words. Tony cleared his throat. "You okay there, man?" I shook my head, trying to dispel the strange flutter of hope and guilt. Yeah, fine. But my mind wasn't fine. Her wink had awakened something I didn't want to admit. A part of me that had felt invisible for months. A part of me that had wondered whether I still mattered. When I got home, the house was quiet. Too quiet. My wife, Claire, was nowhere in sight. Her absence should have been comforting, maybe even liberating. But instead, it set my nerves on edge. I wandered into the kitchen, my footsteps echoing against the hardwood floors, and froze when I saw her phone on the counter. It wasn't locked. I shouldn't have looked, but my fingers moved before my mind could stop me. Messages. Names I didn't recognize. Flirtations hidden in carefully casual words. And then my heart froze when I saw it. A thread of text with a man named Greg, the kind of text that didn't belong to a married couple. Inside jokes, late-night confessions, little kisses in text form, emoji-laden and intimate. I dropped the phone, my hands trembling. This wasn't just a fleeting attraction, a harmless flirt. This was betrayal. I tried to reason with myself. Maybe I'm overreacting, I whispered to the empty room. But the truth pressed down on me, heavy and undeniable. Claire's laugh, her sudden disappearances, the way she had dismissed me with those cutting words, it all fit together now, like shards of glass forming a mirror I didn't want to see. The days that followed were a blur of suspicion and anxiety. I caught glimpses of her phone lighting up, her eyes flickering with something secretive whenever I entered the room. Every excuse she gave felt hollow, every explanation a potential lie. I wanted to confront her, to scream, to demand the truth, but part of me feared what I might find, what she might confess. Then came the night that broke me. I had gone out to clear my head, wandering the streets with nowhere to go. My phone buzzed, a message from Claire. "Can we talk?" I almost ignored it, almost deleted it, but something inside me, rage, hurt, love, or a twisted mixture of all three, made me reply, "Where?" The restaurant she suggested was dimly lit, intimate, almost cinematic in its setting. I arrived first, taking a corner booth where I could watch the door. When she walked in, her smile was warm, but there was an edge to it I couldn't place. She slid into the booth opposite me, her perfume clinging like a memory I didn't want to remember. "I wanted to explain," she began, her voice soft. "I never meant to hurt you." "Explain what, Claire?" My hands were on the table, white-knuckled. "Explain the text? Explain the laughter you shared with him that you haven't shared with me for months?" Her eyes filled with tears, but I didn't soften. I couldn't. Not now. "It wasn't about you being ugly or not enough," she whispered. "It's just, I felt alone. I didn't know how to tell you I was unhappy." Her words were poison wrapped in a velvet ribbon. Alone. I had been right. I had been too trusting, too blind. too willing to see only the person I loved rather than the one standing in front of me. And yet, even in my fury, a tiny, bitter part of me wanted to forgive her, just a fraction. But I couldn't ignore the betrayal, the subtle unraveling of everything I had built with her. I left the restaurant without another word. I didn't wait for her explanation, her pleas, or her tears. Outside, the cool night air hit my face, and I felt the first real clarity I had in months. Trust, once broken, cannot be repaired overnight. Love cannot thrive on deceit. And self-respect, however painful, is a boundary I could no longer cross. Weeks passed. I avoided Claire whenever possible. My life, once shared, fell hollow without her constant presence, but I discovered something else in that emptiness. I started noticing small things I hadn't before, the way my friends smiled when I walked in, the unexpected kindness of strangers, and even the green-eyed woman at the barbershop who winked at me, whose fleeting attention had reminded me that the world wasn't entirely cruel. One morning, back at the barbershop, I caught her again, the same mischievous smile, the same wink. This time, I smiled back, and it wasn't just flirtation. It was a quiet acknowledgement that I had survived, that I had remembered my worth, that betrayal had not defined me. Claire eventually tried to reconnect, to weave words that would patch the rupture she had caused. I listened politely, but my decision was made long before she reached out. I could forgive, maybe, but I could not forget, and forgetting was what trust required, something I could no longer offer her. Sitting alone that evening, I realized something profound. Pain is sharp, but it also teaches. Betrayal is bitter, but it illuminates what we cannot live without: honesty, respect, and the knowledge that we deserve to be valued for who we truly are. As for me, I was no longer ugly. I was no longer small. I was human, wounded, but awake. And when life winked at me again, I was ready to return the gesture.